So everybody needs inspiration. I have found a very newfound inspiration in you. So thank you so much for coming here. It's very nice to meet you and have you here with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for a beautiful introduction today.
I hope your journey to Bangalore has been good.
Yeah, it was fine.
I think the change in temperature and weather is more pleasant than
Definitely.
your hometown.
I'm someone who comes from Kurnool, which recorded a maximum temperature in the last fortnight. So coming here is looking like heaven. Literally.
So it's a paradise right now.
Yeah,
So
truly.
I just like this wonderful journey to Bangalore. Your journey in life is something that many people look forward to. So what do you think is very fulfilling to you in life?
If you ask me, that's something fulfilling to me. So I would like to go with the flow of it. Just for example, this is not the track I had planned in any time of my life. It was completely a divine will. It's completely a divine will, a Guru Anugraha, that I am here, that's what I am today. So it's something that fulfilling to me is, at present, is a few kids I'm teaching, and the response I get from them is something that's very fulfilling to me.
So I think teaching has become your passion, and the path of spirituality has given you a lot of.
Definitely. Definitely. Spirituality is something where you generally people look to when you practice it one day. The next day, what they look for is an advantage. Right?
Yes.
Practice it. See, I have done this much. What has He given me? What has God given me? This is a general conversation that goes with two spiritual people. But I think this spirituality, the process itself, it's an enjoyment that should be taken care of, that should be enjoyed, that should be done with full dedication. You need not worry about the result or what he will do. He knows what he can do, and we all know what the Supreme Lord is capable of doing. The moment we are breathing is because of him. So spirituality it is a part of life, I would say, rather than taking it as a different element from our life, which is generally how it is prescribed today. It's a part of life.
So, can you share instances in your life where you think the vision you had is completely reflected as a picture that you see on a daily basis, maybe?
And, I never had that vision and never went through a vision to what I am today. In the case of spirituality, I never had a vision that I should do this much, I should do this much sadhana. That was never a part. But one thing I had that every day you have to see an improvement, right?
Yes.
From an yesterday, you have to see an improvement today. So every Yugadi you come across, you have to see that you have improved, or you're doing more sadhana, or you're helping more people in one or the other way. This is what I have thought about. Never had a vision towards spirituality.
Okay, so
probably I will have it next.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So, can you share a little more about your journey from an engineering student to embracing marriage? I think that is a massive change. And how did you manage both your academics and your personal life when both were evolving simultaneously?
Definitely. Though I was very concentrated in doing my engineering at that time, what my father and mother had taught me, they play a very great role in each and everyone's life. Their parents play a great role. I know that, but instilling dharma, that abhiruchi, the interest they had created for me to be instilled in dharma, to be in a dharmic path, is what they have made a help to me, so that I have made this transition so easy, I would say.
Okay.
This transition from an engineering woman to a married woman, I never felt that was a very difficult task. First of all, 10 years back, it was like your father say you have to get married, you get married. You don't overthink. Overthinking often, I think, spoils a lot of things. So it was a different time. The mentality was completely different. But I would say that this transition, I do not know to say a single incident that became a transition point. But from my childhood, I have seen my father and mother being dharmic. Though my father is a working person, He was a banker. Now he is retired. He was a banker. Though he was working for a lot of time, all the time he was at home. He was completely dedicated to sadhana, spirituality. He used to go to Acharya, learn, come back. So we have seen him. It's often what we see is what we get inspired of.
Yes.
And in my days of schooling and the early engineering days, Swamiji was one great inspiration.
Okay.
The way he used to majestically sit and he used to say his discourses they are like Veda Vakya to me. So what happens when the topic of marriage came? It just happened naturally. There is no such great transition happened. And now managing both is clearly with the support of the family, definitely.
Yes, so a lot of people have been inspirational and supportive of this transition. So it has definitely become easier, maybe.
Definitely.
Can you maybe point out some moments of growth or maybe some challenges that you faced where you were like, okay, this is something that I'm going to learn from this experience, especially during that period? I find that to be a very dynamic period where we are very willing to learn, but we also hold our tongue.
That's because that's one thing that I have learned. As you said, that phase I went to was adjusting to a joint family. We live in a joint family. Now we married to a joint family where my father-in-law, my father-in-law's brother, their families, we all live together. I was, yes, oh, sorry, however you call it. I was born and brought up with, my grandparents were very old. So it was only father, mother, and me and my sister at home. So coming to a joint family, age and everything, you have to think of that much people. But it is a blessing that all the people around me are very good people, very good by heart. When people are naturally good, what they do it for the good of others also, right?
Yes.
So I got adjusted easily, but that phase was little, how to adjust phase was going on during that time.
I think it will
Probably with the Anugraha of Satyanidhi Swamigalu and Swamigalu, I have overcome that.
But I think that is something that every woman goes through from one.
Yes, every woman goes through. Almost every woman goes through.
So, like you mentioned, you lived with your sister. So, did you miss that sisterhood? And where did you find it in your family? Like, how did you manage that?
Even now I miss my sister. That's definitely there. Because someone we have been together for some 18, 19 years, suddenly you shift to that too. Born and brought up in Srirangam, that's a temple town. The culture of the town is very different to the culture we are seeing today in Kurnool, right? It's a temple town. There used to be Utsava daily. There used to be a procession daily to the Lord. So you used to go to a temple daily. So all this is going to happen. And the culture is very different. There used to be kacheris, regular kacheri. You go and attend, you see great people, singers singing there. And again, when you come to Kurnool, you miss all those little things, right?
Those moments of life.
Those moments are
festivities.
But that doesn't mean I have worried about those things I missed, because the auspiciousness, the feeling of resonance that the Uttaradi Math Kurnool has given me is something that I will never forget to my life, right? It is a place where Vasishtakaracha Narasimha Deva is there. So the enhanced presence of Narasimha Deva, Satyanidhi Swamigalu, Moola Vrindavana, you get that vibration, divine vibration and resonance you easily feel when you enter the temple at Kurnool. So somewhere or the other, I have connected between these two is what I.
So it's from one majestic way of life to another majestic way of life.
And when you asked about sisters, it's my sisters-in-law. I have two sisters-in-law. They both are also my sisters.
So you have refound that sisterhood
definitely.
in your new family.
Definitely.
That is wonderful. Now, my next question, and I think that a question that most people would have is, what are those pillars, or who are those pillars of strength that have stayed with you all your life and motivated you throughout this massive journey?
The first person that I had to say is my father, for bringing that interest to be a dharmic person. It's okay to be a dharmic person. You need not feel different from the entire world. That for bringing that, he is the first person I should acknowledge. Then moving on to, I'll say, my guru, my esteemed husband. He's the one who is guiding me for last 10 years from marriage. He's one who is telling me the bata. He's one who is supporting me in each and everything. Of course, all the family members, they are like very supportive to me. But then, if you ask one strong pillar that holds everything, I would say it's my husband, because uh, I'm not very sure if there is a woman behind every man's success, but definitely behind every married woman's success, there is definitely a man.
So,
And that's my esteemed husband.
I think you've got very strong men in your life, and they have definitely.
Yeah. He was. He's like, he never feels it like this is what I have to do. This is what you have to do, or you shouldn't do. He supports me in various things that I do.
So I think that is something that most women would look forward to, and this is going to be an inspiration for many as well. So
it's divine will again that has given me all these nice people in my life.
Yeah, but I think the one part of the conversation that will definitely stick with me is what your father thought of, that being devotional and being devout is not something that makes you very different from the world. I think that is something that we don't embrace as often as we should. And
he used to tell me on a small incident that once in a small town there used to be a lake. Everyone used to say that that lake has a poisonous water. Do not drink.
Okay.
If you drink it, you will be mentally unstable. But then one person who was an outsider came there and he drank the water.
Okay.
From that time he was normal. So everyone thought, no, this is a rumor. The water is very fine, so we all should drink. So everyone started to drink the water.
Okay.
15 days, everyone became mentally unstable. Now, the one who had put the rule that the drinking water will become unstable is actually the only stable person in that town. But what is the problem is that all these unstable people, mentally unstable people, think that he is mentally unstable and we are fine. Likewise, we are too much attracted towards or too much inculcated the modernity or Western culture that we feel our own culture as a different thing.
Yeah.
That's what I honestly feel.
That is something sad and something we should not propagate as much.
This level, it should not have reached this level.
Okay.
But soon it has reached it.
Can you share with us how your entrepreneurship journey began? What led to the foundation of Vijayamala Adhyatma Gurukulam?
Yes. Last year, when I went to my hometown, Srirangam, there I just went to Amat to do all the production and all. There I met a child. She was around 7.5, 8 years old. Her mother is my mother's friend.
Okay.
So she has brought the child, and I was talking with her mother. I was not talking to the child. The child is blind. She's by birth blind. But by my voice, she identified that it is Harini, right? You are talking. I have heard you. So her mother used to keep all those videos or whatever it is in front of that child. And that child today identifies me with just the hearing voice. Okay. And the child asked me, will you be able to talk with me daily? It is just like a talking to that child. Okay. I just got literally moved by that incident. I wouldn't say that this is one incident that led to what Vijayamala Adhyatma Gurukulam. But after that, there happened a thinking or discussion in my family where, no, we have to do something that all this Adhyatma and dharmic thoughts or the dharmic activities, it should reach the children. Often when you go for a speech or a lecture, you sit there, you will see that all the front seats will be above 60. Yes. Then coming, you'll have 40 to 50. I don't say that they shouldn't listen or like something like that. But it is very good if the youth of the country gets more leaned towards dharma. Because they are the future pillars. Yes. That's why I always feel that motherhood is something that is very important. Because you are creating a generation. It is not you are just taking care of your child. You are creating future country. Today, we all know what happened during COVID time, right? Yes. In Italy, there happened so many deaths during COVID time because their youth population was itself very low. Their immunity was itself low. But as per God's will, In India, there's a tremendous youth population. But the thing is that they are not inclined towards dharma due to various aspects. And what school teaches today, convent school or any private school teaches, you can't expect dharma there.
Yes, definitely.
I do not say that that education is not needed. That is must today. That has become a literally important thing today. But along with that, no one teaches you Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava itself.
Yes.
So where will you find all those?
That navigation does not exist in this.
Yes. So you need to find. I do not say that Vijayamala Adhyatma Gurukula is the only place where you can find. There are so many Vidyapita or Gurukula already doing this. But again, this is a small seva that I can do as a part of being a Sanatani, I would say, that has led me to Vijayamala Adhyatma. Now there are almost 60 to 70 students studying there. I do not say that I teach them. I always consider myself as a senior student and as a junior student. It is not that someone teaches, because even from a small child we can learn.
Yes.
They are very sharp actually. Some questions they ask, I'm literally, it takes me to a blank space. Children are very sharp.
So I think it is wonderful that we are navigating a bigger population or a better population of the youth to incline towards our roots.
Definitely.
So that's wonderful what the Gurukulam does. But given any foundation or a startup, we usually measure its success based on its visibility and profit. So what do you consider a profit for the Gurukulam?
I would say that profit, not in terms of any revenue or other thing, but I would say more children turning towards being dharmic, and more children understanding how true our Sanatana Dharma is, how correct it is, how logical it is what I would say as profit. We are still, it's a baby. Vijayamala Adhyatma Gurukula is still an year old or a little above an year old baby. And we do try to achieve the profit that I have answered. So we'll try. It's in God's will and Guru Anugraha with which it's going on.
So that is wonderful. So like you told, it is just maybe a year-old child of yours, a child, your co-teachers as well. So what do you consider would be the stage where you will think, okay, this Gurukula has been a success? Or what are those aspects that you find to be successful even now?
I would say this when all those children studying in that Gurukula, they truly get the knowledge, because it is knowledge that will ultimately make you stick towards your dharma. That is one thing that I strongly believe, because you may say that I am spiritual, I'm not ritualistic. All this happens because achara and vichara does not go together. It has to go together. So it is along with the achara that you do, you should know what you are doing. You should know why you are doing. When you do a pradakshina to a guru guru, you should know why you are doing, right?
Yes.
So I would say that when all these students, now there are 2-3 courses, after they come out, if they really practice in the guru, practice what they have learnt in the Gurukula, that will be a grand success, is what I feel. I do not say it as a terms of the stage performance that they give. Now a few students who were already studying like for last 4 years, but were not a part of Gurukula, but were studying, are actually good speakers today. They speak in various languages. They speak about Ramayana, Mahabharata and all. But how much they practice is what to me is the success of the Gurukula, I would say.
So the actions of your students accounts to your
definitely the action counts. So you can't sit 1 hour and speak, and you can't sit 1 hour and learn and then go and be completely different, right?
Yes.
One day on the Independence Day, someone hoists the flag and they say sing Janaganamana, and they are claimed as patriotic. And all the 364 days, what they are doing is anti-national. That can't happen. That is not. That's illogical. So what actually one practices is what I think as the success to the Gurukula, and I hope that happens.
I too truly hope that a better population, a greater population becomes part of this, and it becomes a great success.
Thank you very much.
So this brings me to the next question. So reciting of Vedas is a strict no-no for women.
Yes.
So what is the idea behind this strict imposition of practice, or the practice of women not
Reciting
studying
Vedas. Fine. This concept of reciting Vedas by women was not a restricted one until recent yugas, you can say.
Okay.
You have heard the famous story, Yagnavalkar who was there. He wanted to actually go to forest to continue his penance and lead the rest of the life at the forest. So at that time, he had two wives, Maitreyi and Katyayani. So what did he do? All the leftover wealth that he had, he gave it to them so that they can live a happy and peaceful life. And then he started to go. But then there it was Maitreyi, and she says that will I get spiritual upliftment, Amritatva, spiritual upliftment from what you have given? There he says, no, no, that cannot be attained from this wealth. Then tell me what can be done. That is when the Vedic conversation starts between both. So we have seen Gargi, Maitreyi, there are so many women who were Rishi Patnis, Brahmavadini, whom we say. Their yogyata, or what I call as an anadhyog, their yogyata is itself very high, and they were reciting Vedas, they were learning Vedas. But what made the restriction of Vedas is that when time towards Kali Yuga came, a lot of rishis or smritikara, they observed some evil consequences which arose because of women reciting Vedas. So any rule does not happen like one night, overnight rule cannot happen.
Yes.
So every rule will have a preceding. So any evil consequences that they would have noticed doesn't mean if they did not say to us, it doesn't exist. We are unaware of it. So those unnoticed by us, but noticed by them, who the Smritikaras, the Rishis, they have noticed the evil consequences of women reciting Vedas in Kali Yuga. So they have restricted it. Right. But this doesn't mean women are bereft of Tattvajnana itself. That's a very illogical expression that a lot of people say. Women shouldn't read Vedas. That's the only thing that's been said.
They are restricted.
Restricted of. You can very well learn the kavyas, you can very well hear all the tattva from Mahabharata, Ramayana. Mahabharata is called the Panchama Veda. You can hear all the tattva from the Mahabharata. So you're not restricted of everything. And if you talk about Dhasa Sahitya, there are, just for an example, take Harikathamritasara. It consolidates so much of Vedanta.
Yes. It's
From Acharya's Grantha, so much of Vedanta into Harikathamritasara. If actually men wanted to suppress us by not giving us the knowledge, would they have done this? No, it is not a fact of suppression or who is equal or who has swatantriya, freedom. This concept of Nastri Swatantriya Marhati has literally damaged people's concept of women freedom. Yes. That's not the fact. Here the fact is that women through their entire life go through a lot of changes, right?
Yes, definitely.
Physical changes they go through that we all know, pregnancy, childbirth, menstruation, all these changes they go through. What happens is every physical change is related to your mind. You cannot say that I have traveled for 20,000 kilometers, but I am mentally fresh. That cannot happen. Everything is related to mind. The food we eat, the thing that we hear, what we see is related to our mind. So when all these physicality changes happen to a woman, it does definitely has an impact on the mind. So with that impact, if we read the Vedas, we have to leave those 3 to 4 to 5 days again during the time of pregnancy, at the end of pregnancy, and then childbirth. So this Veda Adhyana is not that you do as your wish and then you stop it. You all know that Gayatri Mantra is something that men has to do every day.
Yes,
that
definitely.
every day they have to do. So you can't do it whenever you need. So, considering both this physical aspect of difficulty that women has in reciting Vedas and the consequences that those rishis would have experienced by women reciting the Vedas, which is what is unknown to us, those Smritikaras or rishis have advised us not to do so. That's why while talking before itself, often it is very good to listen and do whatever they say, rather than question too much. There is one more thing about this Vedas, right? Why should women recite Vedas? Men recite Vedas, they get Tattva Jnana, their bhakti increases, they are in the path of moksha.
Yes.
Women also, when they recite Vedas, their Tattva Gnana should increase, their Bhakti should increase, and they should be in the path of moksha, right?
Definitely.
This should be the intention.
Yes,
This should be the intention. But when the Shastras say that women shouldn't recite Vedas, Shastras are the voice of Bhagavanta.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
So when he himself is not pleased with women reciting Vedas in Kali Yuga, you do something that is not pleased by him. How can we imagine that we will be in the path of moksha?
Yes. So there's
So then the intention is itself changing. They are doing it, men are doing it, why shouldn't we do it? That becomes the intention there, right?
Yeah.
Rather than saying that we want to do it because we want to get moksha, that becomes the intention.
I think
if you really want to get moksha, you should do what your dharma says. Right?
A very materialistic thought process happens when we tell that we are not allowed and we bring it forth, that prejudice, that there's some sort of inequality.
There's a lot of rules that changes over time. There's Prayopavesha. We have seen Parikshit Maharaja and all sitting for Prayopavesha. Prayopavesha was something that a lot of Rajas used to undergo. Why are no one undergoing this now?
Yes.
You can't ask this because by time a lot of rules changes, a lot of new rules are made. That is why today our law book has so many amendments today.
Yes.
And of course, here also, when it was Gargi and other Rishi Patnis were reciting Vedas, the scenario was different, their mental strength was different, their Yogita was different, but what to today is very different and have to accept the fact.
I think as we are modernizing our lifestyle, our expectation, we should even realize that we ourselves have gone a tremendous change, and we should respect the fact that everything is no more meant for us, and we cannot bring the materialistic idea of inequality into such things.
Just because you want to do everything that men wants to do will not make you equal is my feeling.
Yeah, that makes
you have a very different. Ask them to go for a labor and give childbirth. That will not happen, right? So today that's also happening somewhere in the country. That I'm very sad fact. But generally speaking, equality is not like you can't compare the equality between a frog and an elephant. Each has their own capacity, and according to the capacity, you can compare. That's it.
So I think this is a very good time to reflect on our level of maturity and understand that our equality and actual meaning of equality. So earlier you told that you have profound love for physics, and given that you have done, you have understood Shastra much more than maybe any of us.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Which aspect of Shastra do you think still holds that thing of physics, like the fundamentals of physics that you love? In the same way, is there any Shastra or is there any anything in particular that you think is equally interesting for you?
When you ask the question, I just remember one nobleman's word. In Mahuli Gopalacharya's book, inside there is a sentence that's written that a scientist is great, but a philosopher is no less than a scientist. A philosopher is no less than a scientist. It's a clear word that's written, and this is written in most probably the article My Master, I think so, where this philosopher is is equal to a scientist. This view says that Satyadhyana Tirtha believed this view. My Master is the article written on Satyadhyana Tirtha by Mahuli Gopalacharya. So what he means is that philosopher, maybe they may not prove everything through volumetric analysis, having a conical flask in their hand, but the theoretical intellectualism they have, the perception that they have is no less than a scientist. It's definitely very great. And if you ask me physics towards here, I would not want to compare anywhere near. But the part of the Shastra that still haunts me, I would say, is that we are not allowed to read Vedanta, right? Yes. We are not. So how we try to understand Vedanta? It is through half of Dasa Sahitya. Where you delve deep into it, you can understand a few part of Vedanta. Then when you hear a lot of Upanyasa, you will get a vision of Vedanta. When you go for go for a class to someone, you ask a Pandit, when they explains it, you will have a little bit of clarity, little bit. Also, like a big ocean, you do a prokshana from the ocean. So, how many droplets of water will be there? So, that much clarity may be there. That's not for me, I'm saying. That much clarity may be there. But that itself is very astounding, I say. That much clarity, getting that much clarity is itself a very great thing. So, you can't compare physics to this. Of course, I would say that. Because I had a little bit of understanding on physics and chemistry, understanding has become easy, but nevertheless, of the fact that our philosophy is easy, it's very difficult to the fact that it's the truth. That's why it's very difficult.
Yes.
Always the truth is very difficult to understand, right?
Yes.
Very difficult to digest also. That's why.
So that's wonderful. So along with these practices comes one more in my mind. Whether it is for men or women, we apply Gopi Channa Mudre, Kunkuma, Gandhakshate. All of these are very common things that we do. Are these merely symbolic practices, or is there something much deeper to them? Do they have a much deeper influence in our life?
Just imagine someone who is working in an IT firm. Okay.
Yes.
He was an ID card. He either wears it around his neck or in his waist. Somewhere he wears an ID card.
Yes.
What does that ID card resemble? Will it do anything? It shows a sense of commitment.
Yes.
When your higher official says that, he feels that it's a sense of commitment. No, he's our person. He's us. He belongs to our team. So that sense of commitment is there. I would say this concept of applying Gopi Chandana definitely holds this aspect of commitment. So when you wear the Dwadasha Mudra, if it is for men, it is Dwadasha Gopi Chandana Nama, Dwadasha Nama. And if it is for women, we wear only one Nama in our forehead, right? When we wear this, what happens is that we will not have that feeling of pride, I would say, like Ahankara, that, oh no, I can do this, I can do this. No, no. We belong to a dharma where everything is done by Bhagavanta and we are just mere puppets of it. So this sense of commitment, just like you work in an ID firm, you wear an ID card, this sense of commitment is something that Gopi Chandana gives. Gopi Chandana, wearing Gopi Chandana has a lot of mahatva that has been voluminously described in our Shastras. Keeping that apart, it has an enhanced presence of that Sanidhya, what we call enhanced presence of Bhagavanta. So wearing that is punya, it removes the papa, that all is fine. But how will you convince someone to wear Gopi Chandana? I'll say, why do ISKCON wear Gopi Chandana? They do wear.
Yes.
Because that gives a sense of commitment. You are a Madhva. When you wear Gandhakshanti after taking, or just before taking a meal, you wear Gopi Chandana, upon which you wear Kunkuma. It is a sense of commitment that you have, that you are committed to this Sanatana Dharma. You are enclosed in this circle and you have a certain rules and regulations and all those, and all the sadhana you do, it's not that you are doing it, it is that the Bhagavanta, he himself is the one Antaryami of you who is actually making you do it.
But many people consider this to be a sense of consider this to be a sense of maybe identity. While some think that it is a sense of like a fashion statement. I am going to temple now. Let us wear it.
I understood. You have asked two questions.
Yes.
The first question is that it is a sense of identity. Now I will say, what is wrong in wearing a identity?
No, is that interpretation correct? Like, isn't that like very surface level, something which is very materialistic? Like, I want to be like, if I take the example of Sikhs, now they have a habit of wearing turban. Now, general perception is not just to protect their head, but it is also a method of identifying that I'm one Sikh, you are another Sikh.
I would say that's there. Of course, when you wear a Gopi Chandana, especially the mudra, they are Vaishnava Chinha, right? Shankha Chakra, they are Vaishnava Chinha. When that is something that is embedded in your body, when you either use it in our forehead or other places, that sense is there, identity. But what does it identify? Does it just identify that we belong to this group? No. I would say it's an identification, as you said, is right. But that identification is that this Sharira, the ownership of the Sharira, the entire body, is itself with Bhagavanta. This identification is what that Gopi Chandana Mudra is making.
Okay.
Gopi Chandana Mudra doesn't on and outlook. If you make that, the person who is standing in front of me is a Madhva, is a Vaishnava, is a Sri Vaishnava. No, this is not the only exclusive identity that Gopi Chandana Mudra are making.
Okay.
That sense of feeling to oneself who is wearing the Gopi Chandana Mudra, that his own body, his own Sharira, the ownership of his own Sharira is with Bhagavanta. So that when you said Gopi Chandra, now the Ahankara is gone, now it's Mamakara is gone. So in all these small things, this may look as a small thing, but this is very great. When you understand the fact that Bhagavanta has the ownership on your body, you are surrendered to. You naturally have that sense of dasatva, surrender, right?
Okay.
So that identity is definitely there. And I don't see anything wrong in having that identity. When someone can wear a hijab, and you've seen Jay Saideep speak, I think so.
Yes.
He's very much right, I say, in a lot of aspects. You have to actually congratulate someone who wears hijab in the heat tropical climate. Then they go and go to any place. But today we are so much, we are shy, we are hesitant, we feel that we will not be in that group. That problem of inclusivity is definitely with us. That's why we avoid wearing sari or avoid wearing kunkuma, etc.
Where do you think
you asked one more question with that, right? Fashion sense. I'll come to the fashion sense.
Fashion sense is like one of the profound reasons that the minute I'm coming to Matha, let us where we will go prepared. So we have an identity card with this coming with us.
Okay. So if you ask, I'll say with Kunkuma, what I think as a fashion sense. Generally, what today's beauty standards mean is that you should look perfect. That is what today's beauty standard mean. That was not the beauty standard what was advised in our Shastras. Definitely was not there. But today you change your face, facial shape with, what is it? Contouring. Not very sure with what it is. But all these things. So what you do is this, beauty standards are towards avoiding the defect or perfecting the face or perfecting your body. That is the beauty standard. The word Kunkuma says that it removes all the sins that you have done, with which you may get a defect, or you may have I won't say ugly, a defect in your face. For example, you have a small, now there are things like the cheekbones should be like this should be like this.
Yeah.
So if standardized, it is very standardized. So if there is a defect, they try to cover it with either a makeup or a surgery. That is how it's going on. But this kunkuma, if you wear it, it will naturally remove the sins due to which all these cheekbones are not right or all these eyes are not perfect and all.
Okay.
Right. So it is something that ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾಪವನ್ನು ಕಳಿತದೆ. ಎಂತ ಪಾಪ? ಕುರೂಪ ಹುಟ್ಟುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣವಾದ ಪಾಪವನ್ನು ಕಳಿತದೆ. So it is the most important fashion element that should be in your basket is what I feel.
So our sense of very worldly kind of a fashion statement that we have is not it was originally meant for.
That's not originally meant for. That is not what it is. What our Sanatana, it actually embraces how women are in their own way. Never it is the fact that women should be like this, the correct position. That's not nice.
But where do you think these thoughts are originating? Not just the thoughts that I will think of Kunkuma as a thing of fashion, or maybe Gandhakshatra as a thing of fashion. Even the feeling behind like that hesitancy, that kind of I will feel like I'm being pushed away by the world. Where do you think these types of feeling or they originate for the current?
There are two reasons that I can give. The first fact, for fashion sense is what, as you asked question, I answered. But one who wears a kunkuma should have the thought that it is the most auspicious thing. So you are wearing it for your own auspiciousness. That is the reason. Intention should be right. Not for fashion sense one should wear a kunkuma. Kunkuma is a byproduct. The primary raw material is turmeric.
Yes.
You know, turmeric root, when any Mangalya is considered as one of the most auspicious element that lady wears.
Yes.
If there is any problem to the Mangalya happened, in that place, turmeric root is replaced. Just imagine how auspicious it should be if it has to be replaced with Mangalya. That turmeric is itself the byproduct, is the product from which kumkuma has emerged today. What you say, you add alkaline solution of turmeric is kumkuma today. So one who wears kumkuma should have the concept that it is for the auspiciousness. Not only for the auspiciousness of his own, but also for all those who are around him. Morning you have to see Pativrata Stri's face. That's what our Shastras say. Morning you have to see a married woman's face. So what happens when you see the kumkuma itself, that will spread positiveness. That will spread auspiciousness. You cannot decide how, you cannot prove. These things cannot be, little things cannot be proved. There are so many things in science also which is still now not proved. Yes. But you can't prove everything through science also. So I would say it should be worn for auspiciousness. And once again, what was your second part of the question?
Second part of the question was, where are these feelings originating? The feelings, hesitancy and
Definitely.
shyness.
Definitely, it's a concept of westernization. We have too much inculcated westernization. Literally, it's like today being Western is the new norm, whatever it is, a new norm. Being Sanatani, being someone who looks like a dharmic person, is someone who is different. That's that much we have inculcated the Western feeling. We want it is always has been with us that we want Westerners or we want other people outside us to recognize us, to accept them, to accept us. We want them to accept us. But will they change their way of dressing or their any culture just for the sake that they want Indians to accept? No, definitely they won't do. That's the fidelity they have towards their own culture. Yes. When culture, which I do not want to call as a culture itself, when they have that much of fidelity, we are born in a place where it is rich of culture and heritage. We are for each and everything there are so many reasons that you can give. Today, everyone is accepting it. Turmeric is something that is produced here, that is considered as auspicious here. Yes, you use it to everything. Yes. Today, someone has patented it. You know, that's yeah. It's grown here. That's the condition today because of so much of influence of Western culture. From there, it's originated. And I would like to say one more thing. Someone who wants to wear a kumkuma, I would say, if you want to wear a kumkuma, wear it. But try not to replace it with a sticker, with something that is a replacement. When you wear a kumkuma, it is a sign of auspiciousness. For that you are wearing. It's a mangala that you are wearing. Oh, when you use something else that may look in the shape, that may have variety of colors, will it replace the auspiciousness? Then for what you are wearing it for a show. That's it. Yes. So intention is lost there. So if you have to wear it, you have to wear a kumkuma. That's something. So
given that westernized life is like it has become a part of our day-to-day life, we follow a lot of Western customs. We follow a lot of their way of life along with following our own traditions. So how do you think we should make that balance? Like where and how or when do you decide that this is what will get the priority right now and this will take a step back?
I will say you can start with when you are going to an office, when you are going to college, you have to wear a certain type of dress, clothing that you cannot avoid.
Yes.
But if the college or the school is very stringent on their rules on not allowing you to wear a bangle, not allowing you to wear an earring or a chain, then you can definitely talk about it, is what I feel. By which you can slowly develop doing what all we can do. Try the maximum. That's what I would say. When you are at home, even at home, you are wearing a casual wear. Let the casual wear be a sari. Sari is also a casual wear. Need not be the pajamas are necessarily the casual wear. Saris are also casual wear. So when you come to Matha, wearing a sari, plaiting your hair, which is very said in our Shastras. I would say there are so many rules actually to be followed to actually be dharmic, along with the outer appearance. That inner, what I would say is the inner change that happens, right? that happens over the time, will not happen a single day. But the inner change should happen to the fact that one should start liking to wear all those attire, to pose himself or herself in that attire.
Yes.
That inner change is very important, I feel.
But given that there are so many unwritten or written rules and regulations of what makes you dharmic or what makes you tell that, okay, you're on the right path, don't you think that will scare away the youth who wants to lead a very free life where they decide what I'm going to do today or what I'm going to wear, how I'm going to dress up? All this is like a way of expressing. So it is also thought of as a way of freedom for us. So how will we bring the youth
Too much
forward?
of anything is good for nothing.
Youth
So,
forward.
I don't
Given
say it
this.
in that way. I don't say it in that way. The reason I say this is, of course, freedom is an essential factor. Everyone wants it, but wearing this type of you need to portray your culture, not because you want to show it to other people, because you have inculcated it. You want to follow the culture. That's what I said. Action is very important to me. When I said about the Gurukula itself, I said that action is very important to me. So you want to inculcate a culture, you want to look like you are an Hindu. Let the other person know that you are a Vaishnava, even before you open your mouth. So that shows your fidelity actually. You may ask that, will this fidelity hinder my freedom? Is that your question?
No, that is not my question. My question is something like, we think of these rules and regulations as a barrier or as a barricade to our way of expressing. Our way of expressing whoever we are. Like for example, most people are comfortable in
whoever you are telling, right, that whoever is connected to a root.
Yes.
You shouldn't forget the root before saying whoever, right? So what you are today is because of the culture that you are grown with. Today, you know how many Americans, how many Westerners are literally dying to inculcate our culture just because their youth, their entire society is collapsing due to so much of nuisance that has been created.
Yes, definitely.
So, by the means of freedom, you cannot say that you shouldn't think about the dharma, that will hinder my freedom, that will hinder my way of expressing. I'll give you one example. Just think there is a person X. That person X want to torture person Y. Will you stop him? Definitely.
Yes.
Will it hinder his freedom? Definitely. You can't say that you are born in this country, you have the rules and regulation of the country to follow. This will be there everywhere you go. So you are born in our dharma. Our dharma has all those rules and regulations that you have to follow.
So westernization has a big impact, and with that has come a lot of stigma, a lot of negativity, rumors as well, associated with these menstruational practices that has been long followed, ancestrally followed. But now we hardly find communities or sectors in our life who actually follow this properly, judiciously every time. So what is the science and shastra behind these practices?
Very nice question, actually. It's something I wanted to talk about. So, what our Shastras say? It was Brahmahatya that's given to us.
Yes.
It was Brahmahatya of Indra that's been given to us. It has been made to 4 parts. I don't want to go elaborate that in detail. Made into 4 parts, of which one is given to us with due to which we are going through those 3 days, 4 days every month.
Yes.
Right? Now, Ayurveda Shastra gives us a very beautiful note on this. Okay. There are 3 doshas that Ayurvedic Shastra suggests: Vata, Pitta, Kapha.
Huh.
A woman cleanses her body naturally in these 3 days of the month during the process of menstruation. And during this process, all these 3 dosha gets eliminated from her body, says the Ayurvedic Shastra. Ayurvedic Shastra says this. Nevertheless, of the fact that it looks like a cleansing on both perspective, on a Shastric perspective and an Ayurvedic perspective. Now, we'll say how in a Shastric perspective it's cleansing. In Shastras, they say, though it is like a Brahmahatya that has been given to us, due to which we have to observe a few rules during those 3 days. During those 3 days, unintentionally, the sins that has been committed by us, unintentionally, not the sins that we intentionally commit, unintentional sins get washed away, or the sins that may have a future impact, and the consequences of those sins get washed away during that time. So, in an overall outlook, it's a cleansing process that happens, right? Yes. To a woman. Now, I would say, before going to a scientific perspective, I would say, why should we think of this concept of Shastra giving us a Brahma Hatya as an impurity? We need not think it in that way. I'll give an example. Take Mother Teresa. Yes. You know how she served people who were ill, who were having even contagious diseases. Yes. Right. We all know her story that anyone who has read Mother Teresa would know that during her last days she was also a little bit infected. Yes. Because she served so many contagious people. It is carried on. It is carried on. Will you consider herself as something contagious, herself as something infectious, just because she has served? Or what is the position of her today? Today she is glorified. Yes. Because she has taken that courage to take that contagious infection from a person, and by serving them, you are considering and glorifying Mother Teresa. Women should be glorified for taking the Brahmatya of someone else. I'm saying this. Women should here consider themselves as very passionate, very understanding. That much they can withstand, that they have so much of capacity that they can take the dosha or papa of someone else. That's a great thing. You need not look in the way of why this impurity has. No, this is. Do not think in the form of impurity. Just think it as like it is. We have that much strength. That's why this is given to us. Even though it's given to us, we are managing it. Until today, we are managing it.
But seldom this position of strength that we're given, rather the not just the physical and the mental strength. I'm talking about the overall strength that we prove every month, I would say, is seldom acknowledged or seldom appreciated as well. So it makes us feel that okay, this process is something that is making me feel very pushed off, very pushed away, and not respected.
That's because the society has done has not appreciated or has not acknowledged the strength of women. I would say that this period of menstruation, when Shastra says that you shouldn't touch anything, you shouldn't cook, it is a rest that is given to you, right? On the other hand, who is replacing you? It's the men who are replacing you. So the Shastra is giving a role to both of us. Need not think that exclusively women here are given a do, because we talk about Stri Dharma a lot. Why is there only Dharma for Stri? Why is there no Purusha Dharma? I would say all the other things are Purusha Dharma. So from that entire circle, you will take a small circle, subset. Subset. So that subset is Stri Dharma. That's why it's highlighted today. So here I would say our science also says it. One of the famous author, Sinu Joseph, recently on her research on the concept of Sabarimala, women on menstrual age entering Sabarimala also, she has written a few beautiful things. She says that science says it as a downward flow of energy that happens, right? Yes. So what happens when the energy gets drained? People are accustomed to or easily absorbs energy. Yes. So what happens when they go on crowd, when they sit between a lot of people, when they sit among people, automatically they absorb all those negative energy from them, and that should be avoided. For that, they are made to sit in a place and they are not allowed to, because their immunity is generally low on that time. That science itself says. Yes. We need not prove it. Science says that immunity is low on those days. So it is a process where cleansing is going on as per Shastras, and science says that it's a downward flow of energy, and this cleansing process should not be disturbed. Okay. That is what Ayurvedic Shastras say. It should not be disturbed. So what you have to do? You have to give her rest to go through that cleansing process perfectly, clearly. And our Shastra also says the same thing. It says that you shouldn't touch anything. Here, behind the touch, though you may say that the reason the Shastra says is that when you touch the auspiciousness of that product gets destroyed. Okay. Right. Yes. Because that is also, you can connect it with science. I do not want to connect everything to science, but if you connect, you can do it by saying that it's a transfer of energy. What science says today, the downward flow of energy, that's what is happening. So it's a transfer of energy. Moreover, there is a Tulu festival.
Okay.
Keddasa, they say. This festival is for 1 week or for 5 days, the time period is there. On those days, they will not harvest, they will not dig, they will not lay a foundation stone,
Yes.
they won't do anything. This is because she is going through a cleansing process. Who? The Bhumi.
Yes.
Bhumi is going through Mother Earth is going through a cleansing process, and they are giving a rest to her. So what you want to do is that during the time of rest, you do not want to disturb it, right? You want the cleansing process to happen properly, to happen fully. You do not want to disturb it. That is what here also happens. We go through a cleansing process, be it the cleansing of the sins or the cleansing of the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, as the Ayurvedic Shastras say. During the cleansing process, it is something that 3 days we shouldn't touch anything. Right.
So with this, I have another question to come forward with. One, women are having the opportunity to go through this cleansing process. What about men? Do they have any such process? Why, given that Ayurveda states that there are three faults.
Generally, they say man's cycle goes with sun, right? You would have heard this cycle of the man's human body. It's an anatomy goes with sun. So, it by the rest they take, by the sleep they take in the night, they get. It's a process that goes. We go with the cycle of the moon. That is what science says.
Okay.
I'm not very sure of what the Shastric perspective of on men's cleansing processes, but I would say that this concept of moon, we menstruate on every 28 days. That's a cycle. Yes. That's a proper cycle should be on 28 days. So it's a moon's. It goes in alignment with the moon.
Okay, this is one question. The second question is, when a woman is going through such cleansing process, what are the duties of men at home? What is expected of them? Some people assume that I have got nothing to do with what you are going through. Leave me alone.
No. That's not. That's.
I find it very
that's ridiculous. That cannot happen. They have to completely support. If you have to sit somewhere for 3 days and not touch anything for 3 days, then those 3 days someone has to replace you. They have to replace your work. If she is a school going child, she has to go to school. So morning you have to provide her everything before she goes to school. Right. So men are also given task, and men should think this as not as a help but as a kartavya. It's a duty for them. I would say just like women taking rest during the time of menstruation as a duty, men supporting them is a duty there. It's not a kartavya or anugraha that they do. That's definitely not there.
What do you think are the practices that men from their very childhood should inculcate, so that when the time comes that let us say a woman in your house is menstruating and you've got to take up responsibility, you don't feel like, oh my god, 3 days I have to do all this, 3 days I have to do this and that. That's
someone who has grown up with a sister will definitely know this.
Yeah.
If you are practicing dharma in your own home,
then you
will be aware of that. No, this is how it happens. You will help your sister also. Even doesn't mean only a husband should help. A sister should help her brother. A father should help. So it's an all perspective. So someone who has grown up with girls will definitely know. Even if, nevertheless of the fact that everyone knows practically that everyone will have a sister, that's not possible. Everything you can't get a practical wisdom. Some things comes from experience, and some things comes from our reading, from theoretical knowledge. So when you learn, when you hear it from people, you have to understand that during this phase of time, women are weak. I do not say that they are physically weak. Tomorrow someone will say, no, I am not physically weak. Why did she tell like that?
Yes.
By the point I'm making it physically weak is that women are not allowed to do all those things that she has been doing for the entire month.
Yes.
So she is given a rest. When she is resting, she has to be in peace. So you are disturbing her peace by making her to come and talking of pseudo-feminism is what?
So I think attitude on both ends should be something that we should concentrate on and change. Most of the time it is considered a stigma to even talk about it. So what would you suggest to people who are like, no, you're practicing this is very outdated thing that you're doing, or very
again, I would for this question I would refer from Rituvidya from St. Joseph. When we cannot just neglect the fact of saying something outdated because it was followed some time ago. Our ancestors were more in connection with their body and nature, were in touch with their indigenous sciences, rather than us today who are more in connection with electronic appliances.
Yes.
So we have to acknowledge that fact, and we have to clearly understand that when they say, they may not give you a reason because they do not want to sit and do a podcast with you, but that doesn't mean they do not have a reason. Every ancient practice definitely has a reason. May not be scientifically proven, but they have a reason. For example, the concept of, I wouldn't say untouchability. Saying just 3 days is an untouchability is not the right word, because you use a few things. You use water, you use bedsheet. Untouchability is completely different.
Yes.
You are restricted to touch any other thing, and you have to cleanse all those things that you touch. That is what our Shastras actually say. After the 3 days, you have to cleanse all those everything that you touch. Right? That's what I say. So in this concept, just you asked about ancient, I would say one more point. There is a village in Tamil Nadu. I do not remember the name. I read in the news. In that village, once they constructed a hut for all those people who are menstruating.
Okay.
It created a great problem. There were so much media attention coming there. And I think St. Joseph has talked about that village once.
Okay.
She says that when she went and saw that, the elderly people of that village, they explained, all these people, you do not understand how much pain that they undergo. So at that time, they should have a relaxing place. But in villages, the houses will be very small. You will not have a
We don't have a lot of space.
lot of space. That's why we have constructed here. Maybe the intention of our ancient people were actually good. We have sometimes it's a screen and curtain in front of us that is not making us to see all those things. So in any case, it is a rest that is given to you, and someone who has worked all those 28 days will deserves that rest.
But what would you say will be the effect of following and not following these practices? Not just on one's physical health, but also on mental health as well.
Not following these practices, I'll answer not on physical and mental, I'll answer on societal, what will happen.
Okay.
See this, whatever dharma you do, that's what I said in different. It's not just restricted to you. It's not restricted to you, your family. It is because our dharma is itself, Krinvanto Vishwam Aryam, we say. We do puja to the entire world. We do puja to the bhumi. We do puja to the trees. We are something that is very connected to the entire universe, right?
Yes.
So when you do not observe this menstruation, the practices of this process, menstruation process, what happens is that there happens an inauspiciousness. You go to a puja graha, you go to a kitchen, all this will create. Our Shastra says that it's inauspicious. Amangala, it's an inauspicious which should not be done. And you ask me what will happen if I do? You will not know it now. She, in her book, says that if a person, menstruating woman, if she enters the Garbhagraha, she will get affected by her reproductive system. Her reproductive system gets affected. I don't know how to scientifically prove that, but I will say one thing. If a woman enters a Garbhagraha, or if a woman enters a kitchen or a puja graha, definitely all those devatas who are present, it is not the idol, right? You do prana pratishta.
Yes.
It is a living thing. You shouldn't think as idol. So when that idol, what that our Shastras say, no, it's not to be done. So when you do it, it's a dissatisfaction that happens there. To whom? To all those devatas. That will definitely affect the reproductive system. I'm not talking about the science here. Scientifically, she has given some quotations to prove how it will affect her reproductive system if she enters the temple. But even in home, if a woman in her menstruation, if she enters the puja graha, all the devatas, it is a dissatisfaction to the devatas. They do not want that to happen. And when that happens, they are sitting there. You have to respect them, right?
Yes.
So when that happens, definitely that will have an effect on not only the reproductive system, but entire, starting from cerebral to digestive, everything will be in not in an alignment is what I feel.
So there are repercussions for
definitely. You may not directly see it. So that is what it is. Because you do not directly see it or immediately understand how this happens. It's not a chemical reaction. You pour two things and you will get a result.
Yes.
You can't immediately see it. But over the time, sometimes in the next birth, then you can say, oh, why now I am very dharmic, but why has God given me this state? Why am I suffering? But who knows? The Purva Janma karma is what is continuing. You all say karma is a boomerang. It's true.
Definitely. Now, this brings me to the next question. Women not being allowed into the main sanctum or the Garbhagriha to do any puja, especially in mathas or temple. We stand well away from the Garbhagriha for our worship or for our puja. So, what is the reason behind this? Why?
I'll say with an example that immediately takes. Let us not go to that level of Garbhagriha. Do you do Shaligrama Puja? No. So women are not allowed to do Shaligrama Puja. Why aren't women allowed to do Shaligrama Puja? I'll say one thing. Because men are allowed to do Shaligrama Puja because that is the adhisthana that is prescribed for men to pray. See, everyone cannot pray. If, for example, we all know that Madhvacharya, when he started to take sannyasa, he saw Bhagavanta in each and every person.
Yes.
That Antaryami Bhagavanta is. Now we can't do that. So that yogyata changes. A person's perspective or the adhisthana for puja, where a person should do puja changes. For example, men, their Prathama Adhisthana or the most auspicious thing to them to do puja is the Shaligrama, idol, or the Garbhagriha, the Murti in the Garbhagriha, etc. But for women, what our Shastras say that women should pursue their Adhisthana in a different thing. For example, their own husband, in the Rangoli they do, in the Deepa that they lit. So, in all these things are the places where they see God. So, it is not that Shaligrama Puja is restricted women. Yes, it is restricted. Why? Not because women shouldn't do. Because women find that Adhisthana in a different place.
What will you say to people who consider this to be domestication of women, asking them not to do this, you only do these domestic activities to show your, practicing devotion?
Why do you consider doing a rangoli is domestic? I don't understand. It's like geometry. It's a geometry, seriously. You come to Srirangam, we have that prakara. There is a Vellagopura Vasal prakara. In early morning, you will see that there are so many lines connecting you, which you will not even find in any geometrical expression in the roads. Such a geometry. This is not a domestic. Okay, if you think it as a domestic, I'll say one thing. Doing a Shaligrama Puja is also domestic. Someone does a Shaligrama Puja, sits in the home and does it. Yes. If you think of the Garbhagriha, the energy is more concentrated there, right? That's what happens in the Garbhagriha. So when the Adhisthana is very high, men have the Shakti or what I call the Tapas Shakti to do that because of all the sadhana that they do. This doesn't mean any random man can enter and do a puja at Garbhagriha. That also you agree, right?
Yes.
Even he is a man. Any man cannot enter a temple and say that I'll do puja. That person who does a puja should have this much of sadhana. So he has that tapas shakti. Generally, this Gayatri mantra and Veda Adhyayana, all those gives a lot of tapashakti, which is with male. That's why male are prescribed in doing those puja rather than female who do not undergo all this process. That doesn't mean she is just restricted to domestic.
So, ours is a very tight-knit community. We have a lot of practices, a lot of cultural events, everything. So, for a newcomer who has maybe lost his way or they are reconnecting with their roots, how do we, as a community, as a matha, make them feel welcome, make them feel a part of it, especially when they have lost touch with the roots?
Different. So, I would say that the first aspect would be welcoming need not be, they should feel that it is ours also, right?
Yes.
That inclusivity, what you say, that should be there. Inclusive feeling should be there.
Yes.
So for
That
that,
comfort
comfort should be there. For that, I think mingling with people, talking with them, and spending time with them to make things, though if they wear a different attire, though if they have a few differences of opinion, that generally not all these people who have been following these practices have, you can talk with them. Do not try to impose anything, is what I can never get any result of imposing. I would like to say this to even small children also. They should start liking what they do, be it a small reading or be it coming and sitting to a speech lecture or something. They should start liking it. So that is one aspect. And number two, I will say, often discourses should be furthermore on a lighter note to that even someone who is a newcomer understands. A few times I feel, but not every time. Each and everyone who gives a discourse will give both discourses, both type of discourses. But often what happens when too much depth it goes, it is not reaching or it's not relatable to someone who is a newcomer. Who is a newcomer. So that relatability somewhere we have to crack it. Still, everyone have to try this, and still we have to crack is something I feel. Because when I see there is in Tamil Nadu, I'll talk about my hometown. There this concept of Katha Kalakshepam is there.
Okay.
Where that's where you bring music, dance, you bring all the culture together along with narration of Katha. Okay. Yes. So you bring 2-3 art together form, where you will have a narration of Katha also. Okay. Today, in the name of Katha Kalakshapa, very few people are doing it, few people are saying Bhagavata. A lot of them are doing it on environmental perspective. Okay. Protecting trees, I don't want to answer in all those perspective. But generally, so by doing all this, you can further engage people who you will have a broader atmosphere, broader level of people, so that you can bring all of them together. And for newcomers to understand that their basics, right? What we actually say generally when anyone comes to our home, they get a fear
that you don't belong here.
You don't belong here. That is generally because the way you convey with them is on a higher note. Either you talk of achara too much, or either you talk of philosophy too much. But I think we have to talk to their wavelength, I would say, to match to their wavelength for a few days, and then definitely together the wavelength will increase. You can talk about other things, I feel.
So I think throughout this conversation, one thing that I've come to understand is what a vibrant place your hometown is. I'm just loving everything about it.
The culture is entirely different.
Yes, it's completely different in something I want to experience soon. So that's definitely something that I mentioned. Now, technology. It's ever growing, ever changing, and continuously evolving. What stayed yesterday does not remain the same tomorrow. So, how are you leveraging that for your own personal or professional advantage? So, how do you bring it into your life and like make changes?
I would say that technology actually has helped me do a lot of things. 2015, 16, 17, around that time, during Shibira, Varshika Shibira, that used to happen almost in every place. So in nearby in Kurnool, they used to call me to teach the kids. They used to tell me to narrate the story to them, to make them understand the perspective of the story and all. This used to happen. When 2020 came, it was complete lockdown. That is when again I owe my everything to my esteemed husband, who has first suggested that no, you should take a social media platform and talk. So where people are available, you have to talk there. Yes. That's what he actually meant. And he also advised me to take English, not because of the fact that other languages are easy to people or regional languages, just because of the fact that younger generation relate to English more.
Yeah,
that has become a normal part, which should not have happened, but that's that's a happened. Now, at least with that, we how to get the Tattva Gnana is what we have tried from 2020 to before 2020, 2019 to until now. I'd say it's in your hands how you use the technology. I'm not very well versed in all this editing and all this. I have said once also, all this is done by a person. My friend actually helps me do a lot of things, but I would say no. Addiction is something that comes when that too today fast moving of screens, right?
Yes.
That fast moving is what gives you the addiction, as I feel. You may ask why.
Continuous restlessness of
restlessness. That restlessness is one thing, and immediately you get a new thing. That inquisitive of new thing never dies. Especially when you go through Instagram, that's something that is making addiction is what I feel. So how to come out of it? You have to, I would say, drain yourself from the fact that you need a new thing. You can just sit peacefully and be okay with it. Is something. This is something I do not say that someone has done this or I have done this. No, everyone in this generation should do this. I feel.
Will you think of tools like Instagram or anything like that as a way of propagation of Western thoughts and Western concepts among people right now?
Definitely, that is what is actually happening. All the rubbish things are getting famous, popular actually, which should not have happened. You can use a social media platform, an online platform for a good thing. I'm not. You can't say I cannot be completely against it. I'm someone who has been through it. But everyone uses Zoom for meetings. Everyone uses Google today. That's all is fine. But to the place where it doesn't get addicted. And the point you said that westernization, of course, westernization. All this new culture, all this, so many, I say a lot of makeup things, a lot of things coming today, which is not, if it is right or wrong, that's a different thing. But getting popular on a wrong point or a wrong intention is very, that should not happen. I don't want to elaborate more on this, but that shouldn't happen.
So those tools are something which is diverting us from our goal. We have lost our determination, we have lost dedication, and especially we don't have discipline. Discipline is part of our mind. So how do you get it back into your life? Like, how do I become goal oriented? How do I change my attitude?
First of all, I would say that I'm not too much goal oriented or done something to answer this. But yet, on a basis, I will say this goal orientedness is, if you, as a concept, if you see, it's because of our dharma. You know what our dharma does? It gives a sound mind, active body. Seriously. The soundness of mind and active body is because of the dharma. When you deviate from a dharma, it is when your mind gets angst. Either the man in the city is too busy that he doesn't have time for himself. Either the man in the city is too lazy that he doesn't get up and work.
Yes.
So, but this balance, what is there, that's because of our dharma. So, today, if we talk about goal orientedness, our dharma, or especially Madhva philosophy, doesn't allow us to sit idle, doesn't allow us to be careless, etc. Our Madhva philosophy is strict on doing our karma. It is strict on doing the things
that we are supposed to do.
Has to do. So when you adopt the schedule of your karma, all this nitya karma that you do, along with the goal that you have, you will definitely get doing it for a long period of time. And that consistency is what matters at the end.
Yes. With this, I would like to know that if you had to tell your younger self one thing, again, like go back in the past and tell your younger self you could do like this, or maybe you can change this, or you want to maybe provide some thought to yourself, then what would it be?
I would say that I could have understood more rather than memorizing. I've spent a lot of years of my teenage in memorizing. That's not a very not to do task. That is not a very not to do task. That is also very important. We memorize a lot of shloka, a lot of a few verses of Ramayana, a few verses of Harikathamritsar. You have memorized a lot, but that is also a time where you actually have that question: why this happens, why this happens.
Yes,
So that inquisitivity is there in that age. So learning also in that age is very important. That I would say is something.
So one change that you would like. So what makes your Gurukula very unique from any other school you've thought currently present or advocated for?
I'm not very aware of what is currently going on, but I'll say a few exclusive things that we are trying to do. Still, it's in the budding stage, but I'll say we are trying to do. We are planning for yearly projects in our Gurukula. Like for this year, we'll take all the Guru Yatis, all the Madhva Yatis. So we'll do more of a research on them. Not me. All the students will do. Okay. So they will deviate among. I mean, in divide groups. Among themselves. They will divide among themselves in groups, and they will select the topics. Select a few. For example, someone takes Yuvatma Tirtha, someone takes Vyasaraja, someone takes Vadiraja. So they get divided, and they do a research, and they present it in the form of either an article or a research paper. Wonderful. That is one thing that this academic year is what we are thinking. We are planning for from 12 until 18. We have 60 students. Irrespective of those students who are very small, still in 7-8 years, we are not considering them. So we have already started collecting articles on a few people, a few gurus. Still a research paper is going on. So this will be in the form of a research where they will look into the gazette and find out which Raja was there, which king was there during during that Swamiji was there, and their gazette they will go through. So this is a tedious process the student goes through, but this will sharpen their mind. That's the reason behind this project. And we also have a project which will go for 6 months probably, where we think of bringing 64 Kala, an introduction to the 64 Kala. Not that they can master the 64 Kala, but an introduction to what are the art forms which are. India is something that is rich in all this, and the entire world is talking about India's art forms, be it pottery making, yes, be it knitting. So we are trying to introduce students to these art forms. It is not like every student has to go through the 64 art forms. We will, for 6 months, it will be an experience procedure, trial version, where we will find out which student has an interest on which art form, or which student has an ability to perform well on that art form. And further, from there, they will get the training. That is also one thing that we are planning for the coming academic year. So along with the Adhyatma and all the philosophical facts that we portray to them, that we give to them, not through the exclusively Vedanta, which cannot be portrayed to ladies, but we give it as a form of a concept based. So we take a concept on Vedanta, for example, Panchabheda. So there is a brief explanation on Panchabheda that will go on. So the children will ask question, and there one or two articles will come up from the children itself who understand what it is. So it is that will be the study material for all those students in that batch. This is something that we have tried recently, but still with the Guru Anagraha, with my revered husband, his own blessings, everything should come in the right track is what I feel. I think that is very amazing and wonderful line of thought. Something to learn from yourself and from your own friends while you're doing research. So that's amazing. Now, if you had to define something to be your mission or vision for the Gurukulam, what would that be? Mission, I would say, if this continues and goes successfully, if the children completes it, that's the greatest mission I have until now. We are not too far-fetched on seeing 2026 or 27. For this and next academic year, we have just planned it. Along with the syllabus, they are doing it. Vision is, as I said earlier, it is the action that is the vision.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for being a part of our podcast. It has been wonderful having you here. And I think this is going to be moments that all of us are going to cherish a lot. Our viewers are going to love. And we hope to see the Gurukula become a great success. And we
Thank you very much. It was a very meaningful conversation that I had, and I'm very glad about it.
Thank you so much.